Hi, it's Jasmin. You know, that girl who did you know what way before the internet ever existed. Join me and my special guest every week as we talk about anything and everything because nothing is too taboo. So punch your ticket and get on board the Krazy Train with me, Jasmin St. Clair. All aboard! Welcome to a brand new episode of Krazy Train Podcast with yours truly. This week's guest, I was so excited to have on the show because I am such a huge fan. He has the best mullet, or did have the best mullet in wrestling, and his podcast, Party with Marty, is the place to be. Let us welcome to the show, Marty Jannetty. Thank you so much for joining me today, Marty. This is such an honor. I grew up watching wrestling and I saw you guys at the Garden years ago, obviously. And I have to say, you're an idol. You are amazing. And to sit here with you, I'm having like a fangirl moment.
Damn, keep coming with it. Keep coming with it. Okay. I like hearing all that. Yeah, Andrew and I were just talking about, some of that, the things we did back then as the Rockers, for us not to be in the Hall of Fame, something ain't right. But as I was telling Andrew, it's a thing to where I was involved in a lawsuit against them. And only reason I got involved in it was for CTE, like banging your head around. And when they first approached me about it, I thought, that's silly, man. We know we're going to get our heads banged around. Football, you're going to get your head smashed. Boxing, your head's going to get mashed around. So I didn't really agree with it. But what I did when my ankles got messed up real bad from all those years jumping off top ropes, they were sending all the people through rehab, spending tons of money, like for Jake the Snake, who probably went 10, 12 times, Scott Hall, who went about 10 times, Sonny went how many times. And I was like, I don't need rehab because if I go there for pain pill abuse, they're going to look for the stem of the problem, where it's coming from, which is going to be my ankles. My brother talked me into going because he said that way you'll get a doctor to analyze and say that's the thing to take to WWE. So that's what I did. I went to one in Louisiana, and just like my brother said, the doctor, when he filled out his report, says, I believe Marty's hurting because he looked at, you could see them, they were visibly bad, like crinkled all up down there. The foot was almost off to the side of the leg. And the doctor saw it. He was like, oh my God. And so he wrote it in that report. Got that to WWE, and I called them and I said, look, I don't need to go to a rehab anymore. And I have a friend here, which I do in my hometown. His name is Lee McCluskey, Dr. McCluskey, who is one of the best in the world at foot and ankle surgeries. And I was so lucky because he was like, Marty, I'm not going to charge you. You just got to pay the doctor part, the hospital part, because that's a separate charge. So I went and told him, I said, it'll be next to nothing. It'll be cheaper than what y'all are paying for a month of rehab, because that's expensive as shit. I told, I don't want to say Russo's name, but she was she was the head of the wellness division then, and I was friends with her. We knew each other pretty good. And I had called her and said, hey, look, man, can y'all just fix my ankles? All it would cost is the hospital bill. Doctor's not charging. And, she was, well, I don't know. I said, y'all, the money that you just sent me last month shows how much y'all made on the royalty, what I got a royalty check with on the merchandise. The money y'all made on that, you'd only have to take a piece of that, to get the ankles fixed. And I said, there's no need for rehab. That doesn't fix my ankles. So the pain pill abuse is going to happen anyway, where you send me or not, just got to have pain medicine. And she had told me, Ann Russo was her name. Oh, I wasn't going to say it. But she had said, well, Marty, you got a very valid point. She said, but if we did that for you, it would open the floodgates. We'd have to do it for everybody. And I thought, well, shouldn't you? I mean, if they're making you money, shouldn't you take care of their health? And I just thought that was the shittiest answer. So I jumped in that CT lawsuit for that. So it was kind of a spite thing. because like I said, I didn't really believe in the CTE thing. Not don't believe in CTE. I've got it, but I meant to sue a company that you work for because, well, you didn't tell me that hitting my head against the mat is going to be bad for it. Come on. So, but and from there I got blackballed pretty much because anybody. But the thing is, Vince, at least, uh, it don't matter what you do against him. If he thinks he can make money with you, he'll bring you back. Jesse Ventura sued him one time on the royalties, and I think he sued, got 750,000. We were all told he'll never, trying to make an example out of him. He goes, okay, he got that, but he'll never be here again. Shit, when he became governor of Minnesota, he was right back in there.
Sable also, she sued and she was back. Remember Sable?
Sable?
Yeah, she had a lawsuit, but then they brought her back in for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, she sued him for quite a bit. Did she get a settlement?
Probably. I mean, that's how most of these are. But regardless, a legend is a legend. Like you have people like Charmel. Who the fuck is Charmel? You have Tori Wilson in there. It's like, okay, for managers, Miss Elizabeth, women, those should be the people in there, right?
Definitely. I can't believe Miss Elizabeth didn't. I wonder that
I
had to be
know.
something on the negative too, because they'll do silly shit like with me. Okay, he tried to sue us, but block him out forever. But like I said, they got a new owners now. I don't think Vince owns the whole thing anymore. I don't even know if he's got his hands on the piece of it or not. But
Well, we'll find out eventually.
yeah,
Plus, he always seems to have a controversy. Not that I believe everything, because there's so many opportunists in this world. Speaking of opportunities, how did you get into wrestling? Like, what was the opportunity that you had to get to WWE? It seems like it was a lot easier.
well, I kind of got lucky in the sense that there was I wrestled in high school and college, and did well in college with it. But there was at that time nobody when we were doing the amateur style. Nobody was thinking, okay, next we go pro, because that was the thinking back then. With the collegiate wrestling was, well, that show we do the real thing. It was like now it's totally different. It is the next step once you're done. With Kurt Angles and Shelton Benjamins and all the guys that are Olympic wrestlers and jumping in there. That's now they've made it cool for a college kid to want to go there next. But in my hometown was a pro wrestler. The gym I worked out at, Jerry Oates, and my first year out of college, I had to get a job that summer and work for a van line, so a moving company. So I drove a tractor trailer truck, which I enjoyed the hell out of that. But you would have to when you're moving furniture, you drive. You can drive 6 to 7 hours, get to the place. Now you got to unload all the shit, unload it all, and then if they got a load for you to pick up to come back, you do that, or you deadhead back. What they call deadhead when you don't have anything coming back. But I did that a few times, and I thought about Jerry. The stories he had told me about the trip. Oh man, it's long trips, yada yada yada. And I was thinking, these are long trips, but at least he's getting to wrestle. So I thought, man, let me look into this wrestling thing. I mean, I'm moving furniture for a living. Come on, man, let me look into it. And he trained me, and I kind of caught on quick and just went right up the ladder. Thank God, because I don't know how that driving a tractor trailer would. That's a decent, with a good company, so you do make some money. But I mean, I don't think I was going to be happy doing that the rest of my life.
Well, I mean, you've been involved in some really good storylines, and you were in WWE during one of its heights of should I say the golden era of wrestling, or the height of good wrestling. You told stories, you guys moved, but you had psychology. I had a conversation earlier today with someone, and we agreed that there's no storytelling these days and not as much psychology.
I mean, there are a few of the guys that are good with their psychology or storytelling, but I mean, so many of them are just about the spots, spot fest. I see them do great things, great moves, great little spot, but they don't even give. I still teach now. I teach and do seminars, and that's one of the things I try to tell the kids. Like when you do something good, so do a backflip or splash onto the guy. Let the fans have that for a second. That's like a whoa, wow. So let them have that. Let you soak it in. But if you do that and you get up and shoot them right into the next thing, you just stole from you and the fans, and it's because they got to keep up with the action, and you're robbing your own self, let alone the people. But ones that come into mind right away because I trained with them a little bit out there in California was the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
They were very good, but they were just going 100 miles an hour to spot, bam, 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 and I was like talking to them, like slow it down. It's still do them, just put a little time in between each one. I mean, you can do 4 of those moves an entire match, and you're doing like 40 of them. You could really prolong your career if you just do 4 or 5 of those things a match instead of 40. Then they've seen it all. Now, what are you going to go show the next day? And then what ruined them is that right after that they went to Japan, where that's all it is, Spot Fest. And they thought, oh, well, we fit right in over here. They came back doing it worse. Like, no, man, it ain't gonna work. And as far as I was told, that's what happened to the tryout with WWE. They were just too much, 100 miles an hour on the spots, giving somebody a superplex and then picking them up and shooting them in the ropes. Well, that means that superplex didn't mean shit. But yeah, it's a lot of them like that. I don't even know. I have to watch because I want to keep updated on what's going on, so that I'll be able to teach that over to my kids. What's up today, not just the 80s and 90s kind of style. But I mean, it's so hard sometimes. I'm like, man, shit. I just don't know if I can keep watching it. I try, but and then the ones I get hung on are the old schoolers, like the Cena's or the Rock, or the guys from back then. But there's a couple, the new guys I think are doing great. But yeah, it's just moving so fast, really. I watched as much of it, everything, each show, like NXT or AEW show, SmackDown, and Friday nights, not SmackDown, yeah, SmackDown, right, and Raw. And then, trying to get everything in. I'll watch WoW every once in a while, and it nothing against them, but just some of the storylines, like, gosh damn, man, this trailer park shit. And I feel bad to say that about them because they're trying their ass. They're good. I think the WWE takes the cream of the crop away from the rest of the companies on the girls. The girls now, back in the 80s and 90s, like you were talking about, the golden era, I think we only had like Sherri, Martel, a couple, 3, 4 other girl wrestlers, and they were solid at what they did. But when a new girl would come into, and then the next girl, and the next young girl, they were just horrible. We'd be like, oh no, man, no, don't wrestle, please don't wrestle, because it kind of embarrassed us, because it was almost like an expose of wrestling, letting them know them ducking, not ducking when the clothesline's coming, and that person swings their arm over their head. It's like, oh God, this is horrible. But now it's way different. They're damn good. I see some of the girls' matches better than the top guys' matches. So it's like they're the fastest. They were behind us. They caught up with us, and now they passed us. But yeah, man, it's a different product. The thing is, you can't say that it's not working, because now they're doing 2 nights of WrestleMania and selling them both out.
So I actually have a Sherri Martel story. So most people don't know this. I was trained to wrestle. Nando Guerrero trained me. Then a Glow Girl trained me prior. But because of my size, I'm always used as a manager, which is fine. Okay. But I feel like managers should know how to work, because when they're calling a match, you want to know what a finish looks like. You want to know where your spots are. What's that move before it? Is it a schoolboy? Is it a monkey flip? Like, what is it? And there's a new breed of managers that have no clue. But Sherri was my very first mixed tag match. And one
Really?
thing is you have to sell. And if you don't want to sell, she'll make you sell. And we didn't have that problem. But I just remember I'd hear stories about her, and it was really scary working with her. I wasn't sure what to expect, but she was so cool. What were your experiences like working with her?
Sherri, that was like her big sister, Sean and I. When we went to AWA and became the Midnight Rockers, she was there, and they made her the manager of Buddy Rose and Doug Summers, Playboy Buddy Rose and Pretty Boy Doug Summers. And we had a year-long feud with them, chasing them for the title belt. And, Sherri was there, and man, she's take everything in, what we got to do in this match, when's got to do it, everything. And she wasn't one of the ones that come in like, hurry up, what are we going to do? And then, okay, good, see you. She would study it. And the one thing Sherri impressed me the most was how badass tough she is.
Mm-hmm.
We had this thing called the Wrestle Rock Rumble. That was a big pay-per-view in a baseball stadium, Metrodome, there in Minneapolis. And, it had all the big names coming in for this big Wrestle Rock Rumble. And Sherri, I think, had Candy Divine, and Candy was a good friend too. So we're sitting at the curtain watching. The ring's got to be 50, 60, 65, somewhere in there, feet away, and a pretty good little jaunt. And Sherri comes running to the ropes and the crossbody Candy, and she dropped, and Sherri went over the top rope down to the floor. You heard her body smack. It was concrete. They didn't have the matting around like we do now. And you heard her body splat. I mean, she went over like Superman, flying over top rope and splatted. And we're all like, oh my gosh, she's dead. She's dead. She crawls back up, gets in the ring, and keeps going. Like, holy shit. Yeah, that girl was tough.
Yeah, she was something else. I really admired her. Then I looked up to woman as well, to Nancy Sullivan. She was always so pretty and just so dainty and elegant when she came out to the ring. And I mean, I loved her work. I liked her when she was the Fallen Angel. And they did the stuff with Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, I would say she had a good teacher in Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
and he
yeah.
taught her
Yeah.
well. That was a whole nother issue we may not want to get into. Is that Kevin Sullivan? I mean, I like him to death. I think he likes me. But the whole Benoit thing, there was.
Yeah. He booked his own divorce.
Yeah. Well, when they, died like they did,
Yeah, that was sad.
Sullivan always said he was going to kill them. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him.
Really?
Yeah, he might have just been talking shit, but then when it happened, everybody's like, he did it. But what more so than that didn't make sense was that, well, all of them were dead, and it's he was in that satanic shit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the biggest insult to a religious person is when they die, you put the Bible on top of them, sort of like, yeah, where's your God now? And they all had a Bible on top of them. They say Benoit did it, but how did he do it to himself? And, he's hanging, but there was a Bible there. And the other thing that to me was a mystery, anybody that works out would know, Benoit weighed about 200 pounds at the most, maybe 190. And, the lat pull down machine, he had taken that, pulled down and wrapped around his neck and let go. It was with 240 pounds. So you're a 200-pound guy. You're not going to pull 240 around and wrap a cord. You're going to have to plan it out and get in a chair or something, higher and roll it up and jump off or kick the stick out of the thing. But it was just a lot of things that made us, think that was Kevin involved, but, I'm not suggesting that. It's just saying what a lot of the boys, were talking about.
No, it's a good, I guess, I don't want to say the word conspiracy theory, but I get into those on a daily basis. I mean, I get up early in the morning, I watch the news, and I get on the phone and start talking with friends and go down rabbit holes. But I've never heard that one before. It is interesting, but was Kevin Sullivan really engaged into dark art, like with the dark arts, or was it just a gimmick?
I don't know. They lived together for real, and they lived at a. Now I see. I don't know. These are things I'm telling. So, you know how that wrestling shit goes. You know, telegraph, telephone, tell a wrestler, tell a wrestler something, and everybody hears it. And if it was a bullshit story to start with, now about 50 of the guys got it to go tell 50 more guys, and you know you're stuck with a story. It's, you know, not true, but the story was him and her lived at a nudist camp together, one of those
I
kind of
believe
places.
that.
You do? Yeah.
I'll tell
So
you
all
why.
good. So I did hear that right. Okay.
Now, my business partner, who you met at WrestleCon this year, we bring in different guests for signings. He met Nancy and Kevin back in the day in Florida.
Yeah.
Um, and it was something about a threesome with him and his girlfriend. So that goes hand in hand. It's synonymous with swinging. It's synonymous with nudist. It's synonymous with satanic behavior. So I mean, because I've studied that Bible before, and I was friends with Anton LaVey's grandson, so I was very familiar with a lot of that stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me, but if he killed them, that would be so freaky, because then you got to think about footprints, you got to think about fingerprints. Where else could he have left his DNA on the crime scene? But that was a very dark moment in wrestling. And when we go back to CTE, right, a lot of people know what CTE is. Do you believe he had CTE on a level where it could have affected his cognitive thinking?
I think he definitely did. You know, they said once they found out, once they opened his brain up and saw that he had, it was like they said it was the brain of an 85-year-old, and that it was eaten up with the bruises that CTE, you know, would come from. So, but you know, and it was well, how did he get him so much worse than everybody else? You know, that wrestles, and you know, New Jack in particular. You remember
Oh
him,
God.
New Jack?
Yeah,
He
poor
had
guy.
a he went crazy cussing out Benoit, you know, about that. You know, he says, "You never took no damn," because they would say this finish where he dive off the rope with the headbutt thing. Because you never even touched him. And you always had your hand up there when they tried to hit you with a chair. And, you know, just, he ranted, I mean, cussing and everything for like 8 straight minutes. I was like, holy shit, I got to cheer for how long he's ranted without skipping a beat. Not 1 second did he stop to think about anything, just 8 minutes straight through. And yeah, that was something. If you ain't seen it, look it up on Google or maybe YouTube. It's something.
Well, he was something else.
At that time, a lot of the guys, not all, of course. Shawn Michaels, you know, he told me, he called me up and I was telling him about it. He goes, Marty, don't fall for the wrestling conspiracy stuff. He did it. We feel bad. We loved him to death, but he did it. So I figured, you know, Shawn's sometimes right.
Yeah, Sean, sexy boy. I don't know if he's ever going to change his theme music, but you guys were the hottest, and you had the best mullets in the world. Your mullet haircuts were the bomb, and I feel as though with mullets, it's like the lifestyle which you had. You were wrestling. When you keep saying your hometown, what exactly was your hometown?
Columbus, Georgia. It's a small town about an hour south of Atlanta. Um, like 250,000 people, maybe 300,000 now. Now about 350,000. But when I was growing up here, you know, when I grew up here, I didn't know it was like a small place in the country or the world. You know, as you're growing up, you think that's the way everything is. It's okay. This is life. But it was actually when I got on the road for wrestling and, you know, driving that truck that I got to see other places, like, wow, Columbus is really small. You know, when you see all those big cities with the skylines, it's like, wow, we got one big tall building. And yeah. And it took getting outside of Columbus too to realize I've got it back now, the southern accent.
You
Um,
do.
Yeah, I lost it for a little while once I was out and around other people from north, you know, all over the world with wrestling. It's how it finally went. It went down a lot. Not it didn't go away, But I mean, all it takes is you come back in here for a couple of days, and it's right back. Yeah, I didn't realize till then. It's like, oh my god. When I was around other people and accents, they would have like the New York accent or the Boston accent or, Minnesota accents, like Texas. Texas was more southern than any of the southeast. But yeah, I recognized all that. And hate to say it, but in fact, I won't say it. I won't say that it was amazing how, I found out how dumb the southern people are. Oh
How
shit!
what? How
I
dumb?
don't want to say that dumb. Yeah.
No, I
Because
mean,
we're always made
there's
fun of. We're
some.
always made fun of as old, stupid, slow country people, And then once I got out of there and got around people, where life is a little faster, especially when I lived up in New York. Um, and I look back and I'm like, oh my God, we are dumb, slow people.
You're not dumb. Look, I mean, I like Southern culture. Like, I'm a city slicker all the way. I grew up in big cities, but I like small towns because, especially after what I was, saying earlier, I couldn't say on the phone and I probably can't say on here or I'll get shut down. Living in big cities sometimes it's the worst move because of the way they're run, right? So I like small towns, southern towns. That's more where my values align and where I want to be because I'm around people all of the time and it's just disgusting. You got to smell them and shit. You have to smell their sweat. It's just nasty. Um, but Georgia is a great place. I didn't know about that. Did you watch wrestling as a child?
I know it turned into Georgia Championship Wrestling. It was on Saturday nights. They'd come to town every Wednesday night in the municipal auditorium. Fred Ward's wrestling. That was yeah. You wanted. I mean, it was a big deal in Columbus. Like wrestling's coming because it was on TV. So now we can see something that's on TV. Oh, it's a big event. This is a big deal. You know, only once you get into it, you see it's not a big deal at all, man. But my sisters actually took me in person to see a TV taping that they did in Columbus, and it was so different because I'd seen them on TV doing all that. Well, now I'm actually there and close to the ring, and when the bodies would run into each other like a tackle, that slap, that bodies hitting each other, it was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's a big deal, just a tackle, which we watch on TV, don't think nothing of it. When you're there in person, you hear that smack and see the sweat flying off, like, wow, that's just a tackle. you know. But yeah, I fell in love with it. My favorite was Bob Armstrong at that time. Like, because he was, when he'd get mad and do his comebacks, he'd all that shit, high kicking his knees. Then you can see sometimes in my matches, comebacks and stuff, I'd do that after him, and yeah, it's actually, they brought me around 10 years old or so, something like that, and I'd go. We would go 3 or 4 times, 5 times maybe, and then that was it for The next time I went was all my high school buddies, that were in sports, and the jocks that wanted, let's go down there and see those Road Warriors. Okay, man, when they come out, we're like, holy shit. We thought we were big guys. We were 190 and starting to, build muscle in the gym. And then out come these big fuckers, man. It's like, holy shit. 6'4", just ripped, full of big muscles. I'm like, yeah, man. We ain't big at all.
Yeah, yeah, well, not compared to them. I remember working with them at XWF. You worked there with me at XWF, right?
There's one in Tampa, or based out of Tampa.
Yeah. It had all the potential in the world. It's a shame nothing happened with that. But I just remember how big those guys were. I got into the elevator with them at the hotel. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, those are the word warriors. They're big guys.
We was talking the other night, and you didn't remember something had told you
Yes.
when we met, because we
Yes.
met there for the first time. I
Yes.
don't. I want to be careful here. We'll
It's
go walk
okay.
on some eggshells. Just do this or something. Like don't go into that.
No, you're
But
allowed to. I mean, you this show can get really wild. And sometimes it's not so wild. It depends who I'm talking to, but it's gotten super wild. Believe me, this is nothing. This
Yeah,
is
but
like
it
most
might be
vanilla.
more. It might drift from PG into R rated.
No, it's okay. We can go to R-rated. It's okay. This gets X-rated. Believe me. When I say X-rated, I mean this gets very dirty sometimes.
You know, you were talking earlier about the swinging lifestyle. Well, that was when I lived in Houston. My girl from there. We were sort of into that, and you know, we would have people over partying and lay the mattresses and mats and everything all over the floor, and everybody just do everything. And we'd have two TVs in the big open room. The big screen TV was on bottom. We'd put a smaller TV on top, and we'd have two different pornos going at one time. So if one got bored, and you look up at the other, you know. And there came a time where I saw this one. I'm like, oh my God, that girl there. And I was telling her, I said, man, I wish we could run into her somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, we would go out to the strip clubs and, you know, end up picking somebody up to go home with us. But I was saying, I wish we'd run into her somewhere. Later, I found out it was you. That you were the one that I was looking at, thinking, damn,
Here
her,
I am.
yeah, it blows the rest away.
I'm right here, baby. Come and get me. Yes.
So, but and then what was crazy after that, shortly after that, was I got an approach from shit. I can't even remember what the name what that her name was now, but it was the industry, and they were offering me a 3 movie deal, the adult movies, to do that wrestling thing I told you about. When I met you down there in Tampa, or actually we were at Universal Studios, so in Orlando.
Orlando.
Um, yeah, I was telling you about it. We came up and introduced and started talking. And I told you about that, and I said, "Yeah, I was gonna do it because I knew you had done that." So you know, I was telling you about it,
Oh,
and
XPW Wrestling. Sorry to cut you off. It was XPW. They were back, and it was a pornographer that owned the company. That's what it was.
yeah, what'd you say it was before? I thought you
No,
said
there was
X.
someone that did a documentary in Europe as well. Are you looking for a safe way to bet online where there is something for everyone, including yourself? Then go to betonline.ag where I am sure you will find something. Don't forget, it's betonline.ag for the most variety and the safest way to bet online. But now that you're discussing this with me, there was a pornographer that had a wrestling company that was bringing in all these big name wrestlers. So that's probably what they wanted was you to go there
Oh,
and be in
okay.
that. You would have stepped in shit. It's like it wouldn't have been worth it. Big mistake.
Well, I mean, I considered it, you know, and you know, I mentioned it to my brother. He goes, "Absolutely not."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What's good money?" Which I understand the guys don't get paid well.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they offered me some good change, and I was out of wrestling at the time, sitting there thinking, "I gotta get some money. I gotta make some money," and then that comes up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I better talk to my brother." And he had talked me out of it by saying, "You know, if you ever have kids, that's always going to be out there," you know. And I thought, yeah, you might be right. And I didn't do it, but I told you about that in Orlando, the thing, and you said, yeah, you would have been working with me. When you said that, I was like, God. I got so upset with my brother at that moment.
You see, I'm telling you, he cock blocked you. Yeah, I mean, I like at swingers clubs, it's a different lifestyle. So in Florida, at the villages in Orlando, if you wear an upside down pineapple, it means that you're a swinger. Like I don't want to live in the villages. Now, my cousin, on the other hand, here's the irony. She was giving me a hard time about my career in porn, but check out this bitch, okay? This bitch, she sees me on Springer. Then this bitch, my cousin, because of your career, I don't want to speak to you. Fast forward, this bitch leaves her husband and young child in Europe to marry her first cousin in Florida, and they live in the villages. The irony of it all.
Oh boy.
I'm too cool to speak to her now, though. Like I'm way too cool.
How
Um,
are you?
yeah, I am, but I'll still have lunch with them maybe if they're lucky. But yeah, no, we talk now because she realizes that the whole Jerry Springer thing she was living realistically while I was on the show doing Jasmin shit. Um, but it's true. But I liked XWF. I feel as though we're lacking competition these days, right? Like I work with an indie company, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, which is fun because we got storylines and characters.
Oh, that's the guys out of Michigan,
Yeah.
Juggalos.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
one of them just contacted me earlier today on Facebook. Got to get back with them, see what's up.
You
That was a pretty
should.
good. They would get good crowds. I mean, the crazy shit they would do at shows, but they drew crowds. People was getting behind that for a long time.
It's a really good booming thing. Like I could see you like I know, we're going to move forward to what you're doing now, but competition is always healthy. So, do you still do indies? I know you do signings, but do you do some indie appearances as well?
Yeah, for the most part, it's conventions, signings and pictures with people, meet and greet kind of things. Because about 4 years ago now, my ankles finally gave out on me. And I mean, it was horrible. I couldn't even hardly walk. So, about just 3-4 months ago, I had a surgery again on the right one. Was still trying to adjust it to get them right. But my doctor friend told me, he says, Marty, he goes, I'm going to fix you where you can walk around without so much pain. He goes, but if you get back into wrestling, please don't jump off top ropes. He goes, if you mess it up again, we may not be able to fix you. So, I mean, I still get asked to do matches, and I might guest referee or be a second to the ring, but I'm not going to do any matches. And I did a thing with the newest rocker. Sean and I were the rockers, and some years later they put me and Al Snow together as the new rockers, which was Sean's creation. And I know what he was trying to do with it. He was trying to separate him and I as the rockers, make that be forgotten about. Years later, now one of the promoter's sons is getting in, and
Cal.
he's tagging
Mhm.
he's tagging Cal, yeah, tagging with Al. So it's Al and Cal as the newest rockers, and they'll have me come out to be a second with them. So you got the original rocker, the new rocker, and the newest rocker. You got all three factions out, and I thought that's safe as hell. Because I'll stay outside the ring. So I'm sitting there. The first time I did it, took a chance and like can't mess my ankle up sitting on the outside. They did a spot where chased the guy out the ring, come running around the corner. I'm sitting there on one knee, well, so with my leg out behind me, so the people wouldn't be blocking the view to the fans. And they come running around. It didn't happen to be Al too, as he's chasing him, step right on that damn ankle. I mean, I'm just sitting there, not even doing a damn thing, and still got mashed up. I was like, and Al was like the best, nicest guy in the world too. He felt so bad about it. It wasn't his fault. It's just that's what happens in wrestling.
So that brings me to what you're doing now. Let's talk about, because it seems like you get with the times, right? And we're going to talk about something right after this, what we talked about before the show, because I'm jonesing to get to that. Party with Marty, baby. Let us talk about that Party with Marty podcast. Please, yes, I love that's a great shirt. It looks like a good party. I want to
I
be
think
in that
I need to
party.
get your picture up on it right here. I got
Yes,
three ladies, but I need yours up there.
it has to be. Like, what the hell? It's not a party without me.
And that's what the podcast was going to be. I mean, I don't know when I ever got interested in podcasts, but when I would see some of the other guys, I was like, they look like they're having fun. I should do that. That's actually why I started it. And the party, that's what everybody knows me as, party animal, crazy man. He's just always going to be partying no matter what. He parties in his sleep. And so I thought, well, we'll make it that kind of a podcast. It's fun, easy going, nothing serious type thing. When we busted out the first episode, which was a surprise to me because my producer was from New York City, he drove down here to Georgia. We set this studio I'm in now, we set it up, and it come out kind of nice. But I mean, I was not ready to do the first episode. And he's shooting shit and telling me that's going to be with some of the content. I'm like, man, I'm wearing a damn towel,
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to take serious and what not to. And, I'd had a few drinks and I'm, just cutting up and dancing and, being goofy, which, at the end of the hour, there was a lot of goofiness in that show. And it was the first one. It happens to be the one that got the most views of any I've ever done. A lot of people think it was because it was called The Darker Side of the Ring.
Oh,
And I just had
Jesus.
been on the dark side of the ring. So they thought it had to do with that. But that's just the name that Savage wanted to come up with, the producer wanted to come up with. And, so many people are like, Marty, what the hell, man? You was just on there drunk and cutting up and having a party between you and that dude, and you're broadcasting that to the world, just partying. It was like, well, party with Marty, isn't it supposed to be a party?
Yeah.
So I had to change. I had to get serious and think, okay, they're wanting some information. What are you going to give your viewers? Just sit there and watch you get drunk. And I started knuckling down a bit. And then finally, one thing I didn't want to do is get in the rut of doing what everybody does. Open up, do your monologue, go through step by step by step, and don't step outside any lines. Stay, to the finish, and then we'll be back next week. I didn't want it to be just plain Jane like everybody's. So I kept thinking of ways to change it up, and I wanted to do segments like the cooking with MJ and science, mad science. I actually went and we'd gotten a doctor's jacket and what else were the stethoscope guy, and it was going to be a segment, The World According to Dr. Jannetty, Dr. MJ. And I'd tell some crazy thing. I wanted the first episode to be about the guys are considered dogs. They treat the women to go around screwing everything. And the science behind it, I'm the science behind it, right? The science behind that is that the males in the species was given extra testosterone to make sure the species survived. Well, it survived and thrived, and now we grow a conscious, and you're not supposed to be out fucking everybody. Now you got that same amount of testosterone, but you've got to control it. There was no control intended at first, so it's not really our fault. It's nature. Nature
It
did
really
it.
is.
Yeah, I mean that is science on that. But wanted to do something like that. It was kind of entertaining and true though. That is true. That what he said. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just one thing I found out. I thought it would be just all fun. Click the go. The camera on, just start talking and yada 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 yada. No direction. Just chat and basically you just be selling your life. Like, hey, are y'all entertained by what I'm doing? Y'all entertained? But it's not. I mean, you got to study. You got to get guests. You got to study to do your homework to what you're going to talk to them about. Say it's a process. It ain't just flip the cameras on and go. And I was treating it like that's what it was. Like a producer would tell me on a Monday for the show Thursday, hey, what are you going to do? What are you wanting to do? And I said, show's not till 9:00, Thursday. What do you mean what I'm going to do? And he's like, you're not going to prepare nothing? Like what? I found out in time. So I'm just now getting to where I do right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the first time I really did my homework and got questions and direction to the show was Jimmy Cordova, referee of WWE that was in the ring when Owen Hart fell, from the roof in Kansas City there and died. So I thought I really did my homework on that. Got all my questions for him, got everything lined up, and it went nice, smooth, and everything. And I'm like, that's what it's got to be like. Okay, I got it. Man, that was the lowest rated of all the shows we did. I'm like,
Really?
yeah, I don't know. I had Alicia Fox. She was the women's champion at one point.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
Well, I thought too, girl, pretty girl that's going to draw some ratings. And once again, that was one of the lowest rated ones. I'm like, I ain't understanding this shit, man. Then another show I had that Chainsaw Queen, the Black Dahlia. She's an indie girl that hasn't really gotten out, in the big leagues yet. But she was getting there, and she's getting a lot of local attention in the New York area. So I had her and Alicia on both at the same time. So it was three. And it'd be damned if that didn't do shit. I'm like,
Really?
yeah. I was like, I don't know what to do, man. I ain't even gonna try. Fuck this. I mean, I love doing it. It's fun. I definitely love interacting with the fans. But it's almost like nobody cares, man.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. I mean,
Well, no, but it feels like that. Like when you put on what you thought it was. I thought, like I said, Alicia Fox being the champion of the girls division, she's pretty. I figured, okay, this is going to get best ratings. It was. I will say it was during Thanksgiving weekend, I think, or something. So that might have had a lot to do with it. But I don't know. How you and Andrew feel about it, but people can come see it anytime. Once you make it, they just come to your site and watch any of the episodes. And I try to make sure I tell my people that, like, because they're like, I missed this. I was out doing something. And I'm like, that's okay. You can still go watch it. It's there. It's always going to be on the site. For mine at a Party with Marty on YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube channel, that YouTube channel, and watch any episode at any time.
I'll look at it. I'll look at the party, but I think usually having like a set day and time is what it takes to have something going live, because I do a live as well on Monday nights when I'm not traveling. And I get good views on it and stuff. It's fun. But if people want to see Party with Marty, hop on over to YouTube and see Party with Marty. I personally prefer the episodes where you're getting drunk, where you're getting fucked up. That's the party I want to be. That's the party I want to be in on, is like do a live stream with Marty Jannetty getting drunk. Yeah. Jello shots.
Yep.
That's such a girly thing. Now, on a more important topic, and I know this has been a very sore topic on the internet, the Raja Jackson incident. What's your take on this?
It sounds like, and even looks like, the Raja didn't have no clue what they were talking about. They might have been saying, hey, we're going to do the spot. Well, what's the spot? We're going to have you, do this, that, and then run in the ring. But he has never even been anywhere around wrestling. So he don't understand what all that shit is and the terminology. What confused me too, though, was they had that video of him outside prior. I guess some words that made him flare up. And Stu, had hit him with the "you don't know who I am," and picked up an empty aluminum beer can or whatever kind of can and smashed him over the head with it. And he just stood there like, what the fuck? He said, what was that about? That's what it looks like Roger's thinking. And then so he's like thinking, do I just start beating the shit out of this guy? Or what's going on here? I think he was lost. And then somebody might have got to him between then and when he was to run into the crowd and told him, yeah, man, that guy he dissed you in public. He dissed you. He punked you out, man. Go get your receipt. And even if that's how it went down, I was a martial artist and all that, and in every kind of sport. But once you see the guy's knocked out, you don't throw 20, 30, 40 more punches. I think they say it was 23 more punches, just back and forth and in there and back and forth and back and forth. And he's out. He just knocked his head side to side to side. That takes a little bit of mental problem to do something like that. So, I mean, I don't know who to claim wrong and who to claim right. I don't think anybody is right in the whole thing. I don't know that Stu did anything wrong. I just don't understand what he was thinking, though, with that can against the head, because I think that just was spontaneous, what do you call it, impromptu or some shit? Just, okay, on the spot, bam. What are you trying to tell this kid that's not into wrestling by doing that? What was that supposed to mean to him? Like, hey, is that telling him it's a work? Is that supposed to tell him you're tough? I mean, the message is that supposed to get across? That was the only thing with Stu I didn't understand. Why? What did you see it as?
Well, I have my first beef with Raja is he is a streamer, like a YouTuber. He doesn't get the business, Marty. Like he wasn't trained with the business. So but I wouldn't go, I wouldn't go as far as beating someone up outside of the ring, like what he did, because they're a streamer or a YouTuber. I would ignore them. And I feel as though if there was a fight to be done, that fight was then and there after the beer can hit him in the head. That's where you do it. The ring, he just went and he's green. He's like, fuck this motherfucker. I'm going to fuck him up, whatever it was. And that's what happened. But he shouldn't have been in the ring. And there's a sense of entitlement with streamers and these YouTubers. I just got into a fight at the gym not too long ago. There's a sign in broad daylight that says no videotaping on the premises unless you have permission from the other members. So unless you're illiterate, why the fuck do you have a camera on? Oh my God, no, it's for my stream. Oh my God, it's for my stream. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your stream. Okay, just turn your camera off because I don't want anything to be in background of your stupid video, you retard. So I'm the one that gets in trouble for calling this bitch a retard. But she was a retard because she couldn't read properly or didn't want to listen. But they didn't cancel my membership. That's the upside.
Yeah,
That's the good part of this, Marty.
Yeah,
but it's this entitlement. The sense of entitlement with streamers is my point. And I think that's what it was with him. Plus, what is he? One of Rikishi's many nephews?
No, that's a Rampage Jackson's son. Rampage
yeah,
Jackson.
That's right. MMA fighter. Well, do you think they should bring him up on charges? Like, should he be charged with anything?
I think that we're looking into it. Like, how do you do that? Because it's pro wrestling, and no lawyers, no courts take pro wrestling serious. You know, I tried to sue somebody for what's it called, slander and defamation of character, who had gone on some show and talked about I was stealing things at this convention. And he said, I watched him. He picked up one thing after another and look at it, and he'd set it back down, or otherwise he must have been putting them in his bag. So I had him check him when I left that day, that night. The owners or whatever was the guys in charge asked me to open my bag. I didn't have it. I had worked the wrestling show that night, and then they had the sign, the meet and greet thing, and the little convention afterwards. Or actually, sometimes it was during it. But so I was there for the show. I was in the show, but I went around to see my people, my friends, and it was after. What I got hung up on was there was I never knew this though. There was a place called the Barbershop Window. That's the name of the store, and it was based off that whole barbershop scene that Sean and I did, where he threw me through the window. And I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, holy shit, they got a sports memorabilia store, called it the Barbershop, and they had, Sean and I's picture and stuff on it. And I was picking up, looking at the things like, holy shit, I wasn't taking none of them. And then, plus almost every table I was at was one of my friends, some of my people.
Yeah.
But so when I found out he did that, I got an attorney, because he put out there that Marty J is reduced now to stealing shit at things, out to the public. And so that's definitely a case, because they came over and there was nothing, that's stolen. He had mentioned too about, he was acting like he was on the phone. I was on the phone. I was calling my brother, telling him about that barbershop thing. Like, oh man, I'll take pictures. You got to see this. You ain't gonna believe it. So, I mean, he had to write, what I was doing about her calling the phone, but it wasn't acting like I was on the phone. I was on the phone, and I'm picking stuff up and looking at it, and I'm setting it back down. It wasn't going in my wrestling bag. So maybe from his, and we're free, I don't want to have to say to Rob Feinstein.
Wait, what? Rob what?
Feinstein, RF Videos.
What about him?
He was the one that was doing that, telling the owners and shit that I was stealing, and then went out on his media site saying Marty was stealing shit.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, you know, me and him are friends now. After that, I was going to try to kill him, and you know, I did call an attorney and told them about it. You know, one sued. It was, well, it sounds like you got a solid case there, but the problem is it's pro wrestling. Nobody's going to listen to any of it. It's too easy to debunk. That's what he said, because it's pro wrestling. I'm like, man, damn! Every time I don't even do shit wrong, I get sued somehow. Just like the guy with the broken neck, Chuck Austin. I get sued, but when I got a case, well, we can't because of this, or no, it's too late. Time, statute time, whatever. It's like, fuck.
I wish you knew me then, because I know a lawyer that would have sued successfully, because it affects your inability to get booked to other places, because people don't want to book you based upon him saying stuff. Isn't he the same guy that was in a video where he was like Catch a Predator? That's the same Rob
Yes, yeah,
Feinstein, right?
yeah, a little
A
underage boy.
14-year-old girl or boy, whatever it was.
Boy, it was a boy.
LOL, I'll pretend you said 18. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't fly these days.
Yeah, that guy is reporting me.
I was going to say, there's a theme here of irony.
It's crazy to made up a friendship. You know, now we talk to each other. Hey, how you doing? All that. It's just sort of blowing by. But a lot of people are like, Marty, why do you do that? Why do you end up befriending again people who have shit on you? And the only thing I can fear is I may need them again in the future for something.
Yeah, right. I don't know, man. I just, I deal with him when I have to deal with him. But it's been nice seeing you virtually. I hope I get to catch up with you in person, right?
I'm sure we'll run to each other. You know, one day you got to do my show now.
I have to. I want to be in the Party with Marty. So if anyone wants to check out the episodes of Party with Marty, hop on over to YouTube, and the station is Party with Marty. It is the only party in town, the only rocking party in town. And if people would like to find you on socials, where would they go?
Go to Facebook at this point, and you might know better. You can tell me what to do later. But for some reason, I mean, I had like 100,000 followers at one time, and I guess I got drunk and upset. A lot of bad things had happened all together. And went on Facebook and got kind of vented, and they threw my account out. So I lost 100,000 people. That was 100,000 to advertise to, you know. So when they threw it out, I had to start over at like 100 followers, 200. I'm up to 6 now, but I'm at the thing where they don't give you that blue little check to let you know you're legit, you're the real person. So I can only have 5,000 friends. A lot of people try to friend me. I can't accept it, so they think that, oh, he didn't take my. No, talk to Facebook about that. They're blocking me from having more than 5,000 people, but you can still follow. So go to Marty Jannetty on Facebook and follow me, and we can still interact. I think you can comment. I think you can. You can still comment.
Your best bet is a fan page where you could have as many followers as possible, because everyone is limited to 5,000 friends. It's really dumb. So yeah, hop on over to Facebook, everyone. Join the other party there. Are you on X or Twitter or Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on there. It's funny because, Instagram and that, everybody keeps telling me, you got to use those more. You got to use those more. And those are the ones I know the least about navigating around on it, so I hardly ever get around to them. But I'm trying to learn. I'm so damn tech stupid.
I think you're great.
I'm going to try. But yeah, y'all come see me on Facebook over there, and we'll get together and figure out some crazy things to do together. Have tons of mischief. For one thing, we're going to do is have fun. You can count on that.
Just don't get drunk and write things. All right. Well, thank you so much again. You look great. I'm glad I got time to sit down and chat with you, and sit tight.